Today we're taking a first look at the all-new Centauri Carbon 2 from Elegoo. Huge thank you to them for sending this over for us to take a look at on the channel. First up, we got to unbox it. So we have our quick start guide. Looks like a slimmed down version of the quick start guide. We've got our user manual to help us get this thing all set up. We can get it out of the box, take off the plastic wrap, and start getting this machine all set up. We've got a handful of accessories inside of the bag. We've got some tools to use to get the thing assembled. We've also got some screws that we're going to need a little bit later on down the road. A USB flash drive for saving time lapses. Some 3D printer grease for lubricating everything inside. We've also got some scraper blades for removing hard to remove parts from the build plate. A useless thing of filament. A replaceable spare nozzle wiper. And of course, something to clean out our nozzles if we should get a jam inside of there. We've also got the screen, which we can get attached to the front of the machine in a little bit. And we can remove some of this foam that they use for shipping. Also inside of the printer, we're going to have 4 PTFE tubes that are going to be used to connect our canvas system, as well as power for the canvas system. We've also got a poop chute or a purge chute, however you want to call it, that we need to install. It does not come pre-installed inside of the Centauri Carbon 2. We've of course got our power cable. Now this piece is part of the hood. As I was unboxing it, I didn't really understand that, but you'll see it a little bit later on. Of course, we've got our brackets for mounting all of our spools to the side of the machine and some more foam inside of the machine. And these are what holds your spools onto those brackets that get mounted onto the right side of the machine. They're all numbered, and those numbers do correspond to specific spots, so we are going to need to install those accordingly. And then, of course, we have our canvas system, which is what Elegoo is calling their multicolor loading system. We can remove all of the tape from the front and get the door open so we can remove our little top bucket, which I will get to in a little bit, and why I'm not a huge fan of it. I understand its purpose and why it's there, but it kind of seems like an afterthought to me. But anyway, moving on. We've got more foam on the inside. To install our screen, we simply use this ribbon cable. It plugs into the back side of the screen, and then the screen has some tabs on the back of it. You push it in and then push it down to lock it into place. And some screws that we're going to need right now to install the nozzle wiper and purge chute. Now this simply slots into place in the back of the machine, and then you secure it from the back side using the 4 provided screws. Super easy installation. Honestly, only took about a minute or two. Once that's done, we've got a little baggie that's got a whole bunch of screws for our spool holder, for the canvas system, and for the canvas mounting bracket. We're going to start just by installing all 4 of the brackets with the provided screws so we can attach all of our spool holders. And then these spool holders simply just slot into place. Now, right above each of those brackets, there's a corresponding number, and you just slot the corresponding spool holder into its correct slot. Super easy installation. On the top of the machine, there's 2 screws. This is where our bracket to mount our canvas system goes. We've got 2 long screws that they provided, and those simply slot into place and get secured using the Allen wrench that they provide. After that, we've got our canvas unit, which comes with Elegoo's new RFID system. That simply slots into place and gets secured with 3 provided screws in the bag labeled for canvas component. Now after that, we've got our adapter here to install onto the print head, which allows each of the 4 PTFE tubes from the canvas unit to go into the machine. There are 2 slots for screws on the back that line up with a bracket, again, on the back of the print head. I was only able to get 1 of these screws installed. For whatever reason, the way that they set this up, one of the screw holes is pretty much blocked by the power cable and the drag chain there. So if you have any tips about how to get that installed, let me know down in the comments below. Moving on, we've got a port on the back side of our canvas unit and the back side of the machine. We can install the straight part into the canvas side, and the one with a 90-degree angle goes into the back side of the printer. And of course, our 4 PTFE tubes to get installed from the canvas unit to the print head. It doesn't matter which slot goes into which position on the print head, as long as they are organized in a neat, timely fashion. And then of course, after we're done installing all of these, we've got a little clip to keep all of these PTFE tubes secure so they don't get all jumbled around. And then after that, we can take a look at our build plate. It is a double-sided PEI textured sheet. It's got a side A, which is a more rough side, and then a side B, which is a little bit of a finer side, specifically optimized for PLA printing. It's going to give your prints a little bit of a smoother look on the back side or the bottom side of the print. Now there's 3 screws to release the print bed from the machine. If you don't remove these, you could run into some issues later on. So we've got 2 on the front side and then 1 on the back. Super easy to remove. I recommend keeping these because you might want them down the road for some accessories you may print for the printer. And then, of course, our top lid, which I mentioned before, kind of seems like an afterthought to me. The problem I have with this is in a normal print farm setup, it makes the machine too tall to fit on a normal rack, or you have to have a super high or extended rack, which means you're losing room for other printers either above or below it. You could run it without the lid, then you lose the functionality of the enclosed machine, but that is an option here. It's not my favorite part about the printer. It makes it tall and it kind of makes it look like a trash can. We're just going to roll with it. Setting up the machine super easy. We can choose our language. It's going to verify that we've removed those 3 screws shown in the image. We are in North America, so we can get it set up that way. After that, it's going to ask you for your Wi-Fi password. And then, of course, you need to name the device. I just decided to call this Centauri Carbon 2 to keep it clean and simple. And then, of course, we can scan a QR code to bind it to our Elegoo app. I chose to skip that step. I did connect it later on using their Elegoo Slicer app. Next, it's going to do a device self-check. This takes about 15 minutes. It's going to do self-checks for nozzle heating, heated bed heating, heat break cooling fan, mainboard cooling fan, input shaping, and, of course, automatic bed leveling. When it's done, self-check is complete. It did tell us in the instruction manual to go and check to see if we had any device updates, and obviously this failed because we didn't connect it to the cloud. My device didn't need any updates, which kind of surprised me, but it is a pretty brand new machine, so possible it got all the updates it needed right from the factory. Then we can get our filament loaded. Elegoo did provide 4 different color spools for us to use with RFID technology. You simply scan it against the side of the machine. It'll pop up and tell you which filament it found, just like this one with the red, and then we can assign it to a slot. I'm going to go ahead and do this for all 4 of our colors. We've got yellow, red, blue, and green, and then we can get them actually loaded onto the spool holders. Super easy procedure, doesn't take that long at all. And then we can get all of our filament loaded up into the canvas unit. Once you stick it into the PTFE tube, about an inch, it'll automatically start feeding it into the machine, and you are good to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is print their multicolored benchy that's provided on the flash drive. We have textured side A or smooth side B. Since we're going to use the side A, that's what I have selected. I'm going to use time-lapse and print calibration for this print. But first, we need to make sure that the bed is all clean. For this, I'm just going to use some isopropyl alcohol on a little cleaning thing that I printed out a couple months ago. Just wiping it down, making sure to get all of the grease from our fingers off of the print bed so we can ensure we've got a successful print. And then we can hit go. "49 minutes, 45 seconds later, and we have a completed multicolor benchy, and we can take a look at it on the print bed. Super clean, no stringing, no errors that were thrown during this initial print here. And pulling it off of the print bed, honestly, this is one of the cleanest looking benchies that I've ever printed out. Honestly, I see nothing wrong with this. All of the overhangs look super clean. There's no stringing in between them, no sagging of any of the filaments, so the cooling settings are top notch, right on par. The only thing I did notice on the top side is a little bit of under extrusion using Elegoo's default print profiles. That can all be tweaked, though, if you have a problem with it, by upping the flow ratio just a little bit. But overall, again, this is one of the cleanest looking benchies that I've ever seen come off of a 3D printer. The text on the back looks good, and even moving on to the bottom, all of the text looks super clean. I see, again, no issues with this benchy, and I've printed quite a few of them if you've looked back on the channel. Next up, I wanted to test the multicolor printing capabilities of the Centauri Carbon 2. So it's close to Easter. I printed out this little Easter egg in yellow and blue using the colors that they provided. Now it unscrews pretty easily. The bottom piece printed out really clean. The threads all look really, really good. The top piece, on the other hand, printed out like this, and there's some overhang issues on the top as well as on the threads there where it just didn't cool it quite enough and caused a little bit of overhang issues and stringing. It doesn't seem to impact, though, the functionality of the egg screwing together. The other thing that I noticed is a little bit of color bleed between the blue and the yellow, only in this section, though. It didn't seem to happen in any other section on the print except for the bottom part of that top lid piece. And it might be a little difficult to see on camera, but we've got basically a straight line all the way around where the blue was mixed with the yellow a little bit. These settings can be adjusted in the slicer by upping your flushing volumes and purging a little bit more filament. But overall, it came out really good. Took about 7.5 hours to complete. Then I wanted to try something that flexed a little bit or had some print-in-place features. So I printed out this printable fabric here, and it's kind of woven together with a bunch of little hooks on the inside. It printed like this down on the build plate, so you can see in the top here where we had no supports, obviously, there are some stringing or a little bit of overhang issues. But again, everything flexes right off of the build plate just as it should, and kind of looks pretty cool when you move it around like that. The only other thing, again, that I noticed on this print was the top surface had some under extrusion. Again, this can all be fixed by upping our flow ratio from the default 0.98 to maybe a 0.99 or even a 1.0 using the slicer. But overall, again, really clean print, no color bleeds between the blue and the green, at least none that I could see. And we only had a little bit of under extrusion again there on the bottom layer. Looks pretty good. Now, this print was definitely the quickest out of the ones that I printed. There's no supports used at all to print this little egg here, and there's no stringing on the inside either. And this was printed with a 0.2 millimeter layer height, so not a super fine detail, and obviously using the stock 0.4 millimeter nozzle. You can see right through it, every little nook and cranny, every bit of this piece looks super clean on the inside, so really happy with how this one came out. And then I printed this one out to see how easy it was to break off supports of the same material using Elegoo's default settings in the slicer. It can be used to hold pens or tools, whatever tickles your fancy here. But basically just doing this to see how easy these supports will break off. Some of them, like these ones on the back, come off with little to no effort at all. And then others are going to be a little bit more difficult to remove because the brim around the bottom kind of fused to the bottom of the actual print itself. So for these ones, we are going to need a pair of snips, which we'll grab in a little bit. But I also wanted to point out, I do see that under extrusion issue on the supports going around the side this time, but it's only on the supports. The actual print itself looks really good. I don't see any issues as far as that goes until we get to the top layer, which we've seen before. And at this point, we all know how to fix it. I will do a full video on that, though, if anybody would like to see adjusting the flow ratio. Let me know down in the comments. So using a pair of snips, which Elegoo does not provide with this printer like a lot of the other printers nowadays, I have a pair linked down in the description below. If you want to go pick some up for yourself, they come in super handy for doing what we're doing right now. But not only that, they do come in handy for cutting the filament on the spool so you don't have any bent edges, anything like that. And also if you have some filament that might be stuck to the nozzle or a little stringing that happened after the print was completed, you can go and break it off like that. Super easy. So again, I will link a pair that I have found down in the description below. And Elegoo also sent along some spare nozzles. We have 5 of the 0.4 millimeter nozzles here. We've got a 0.6 millimeter nozzle, a 0.8 millimeter nozzle, and a 0.2 millimeter nozzle. Now these are different from what you'll find on some of the more recent machines, even like the 85X that has the quick swap nozzles, or the P2S A1 series, or the H2 series from Bamboo, that all have a quick swap nozzle. And that is a first look at the all-new Centauri Carbon 2 from Elegoo, its first multicolor 3D printer using its new canvas system with RFID, so it's pretty simple to actually get up and running if you're using all Elegoo spools. We will have more videos on this printer coming out in the next couple of weeks. If you have anything specific you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments section below. And a huge thank you to Elegoo for sending over this printer for us to take a look at. Hope you enjoyed this one. Again, let me know what you want to see showed off on this printer down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Take care, folks.